Hello, I'm Sarah from smallbusinesssarah.com, and in this video I'm going to show you one method that you can use to record your Etsy sales information and fee information in QuickBooks Simple Start. This is just one possibility of a method that you can use. I have a video about a different method, but I think this method will appeal to more people. I think this will be easier for people to understand what's going on than the other video that I have out there. So without further ado, and this is updated for the new Etsy payment account that they have, so you'll know exactly how to handle your Etsy within QuickBooks going forward. We're going to call this the bank method. We're going to treat Etsy like a bank because, as you know, they hold some of your money for deposit and wait until a certain amount of time until things have cleared before they deposit. So we're going to call this the Etsy bank method. We're going to treat Etsy like a bank within QuickBooks. So let's begin with QuickBooks Simple Start. We're going to add a couple of accounts. We're going to go to Accounting, Chart of Accounts. Now I have already added several accounts. Let me show you. I have already added Etsy income accounts, and I have already added some Etsy expense accounts. I have another video about the chart of accounts that will walk you through how to add accounts in QuickBooks Simple Start. I also have an Etsy course available which also walks through all of these particulars in detail. Okay, but we're going to add a couple new accounts particular to this situation. Like I said, we're going to treat Etsy like a bank. So we're going to add it like a checking account. And let's be fun and call it the Etsy bank. So all of our sales go into Etsy and they get stored there and they take out the fees until they make a deposit. Now, before I go any further, I probably should have pulled this up first. We need to know our beginning balance. So you need to have a starting point from which you're doing this system. I am going to go with November 1st as my starting point, and I'll show you where I found my beginning number. It's Finances, Shop Payment Account. Then we're going to scroll down, see all monthly statements, and we're starting with November 1st of 2018 for all of our information here. So then I need to find the beginning balance as of November 1st. So I'm going to scroll to the early part of the month down here, and you'll see I had a beginning balance of 0 at the beginning of the month. So if you have a different balance, then you will need to pull that information. Let me tell you one other way that might be a little easier for you to get the beginning balance. Oh, that's wrong. If you go to the month previously, oh, that's not working for me. Never mind. So just go to the month you're using, the last page, and find that beginning balance information. This payment here was my final Etsy bill, which kind of got me squared away. So I have a 0 beginning balance. Okay, so back to QuickBooks. I have a balance of 0 as of 11/1. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this account, but we've got more accounts to create, so I'm going to hit Save and New. Now we're going to create a couple extra sales accounts. Some of the Etsy reports break out things like discounts and refunds, and I think it will be helpful for us to see that breakout. So we're going to go ahead and create 2 accounts. You'll notice I did income and then discounts or refunds given. We're going to call one discounts, and the sub account is our Etsy income account. Let's find that. Save and new. Same thing, income. We're going to keep the detail type as discounts or refunds. We're going to call this one refunds. And the same header account. So now we'll have all of this under our one Etsy income account. And now we're going to save and close. Okay, now we're all set up in QuickBooks. We've got our Etsy bank account here. You'll find a link to QuickBooks Simple Start down below in the description. I'll also link to my video on setting up your chart of accounts. Let's head back to Etsy. And we're going to start gathering data that we need to import into QuickBooks. So the first thing we're going to gather is information from here. Like I said, we're working on November of 2018. So go ahead and take out a piece of paper and jot down your listing fee, your marketing fee or advertising fee, your shipping labels that you printed, that cost, and the transaction fees. And that's what we're going to gather from this page here. Now, there's some sales breakout data that we need that is unfortunately not included here. So we need to run a CSV file. To do that, we're going to go to Settings. Oh, I didn't click fast enough. Settings, Options, Download Data. So the first CSV type we're going to use is called the Order Item CSV file. Go ahead and select the month that you're doing and the year. And then hit Download CSV. Now I have already done this and highlighted a couple things on the CSV, so I'm going to just go ahead and pull that up. So this is your Etsy orders CSV. I have frozen the top row. And you'll see over here, these are for November sales. Slide this back over. Okay, so the first number you're going to jot down on your piece of paper is your order value. So this is your gross amount of sales for the month. So write that number down. And this is a simple sum formula. I just summed the entire column. Next, sum the discounts column and go ahead and add up the amount of discounts you've given. So this was from percentages off that you provided to customers with a coupon code. Next, you're going to want the amount of shipping income you collected. So this is money people paid you for the shipping. So go ahead and write that number down. The next column is sales tax. Now I am in Pennsylvania, so now Etsy is collecting and remitting Pennsylvania sales tax. So I no longer have values in this column, but I went ahead and added a 1 so that I could show you what to do if you have sales tax. So go ahead and jot down your sales tax number. If Etsy collected sales tax for a state like Pennsylvania or Washington and remitted that for you, that number that they collected and remitted will not appear here. You can see here's a Washington sale, and yet there is no sales tax reported in this column, which is good because we don't have anything to do with that Washington sales tax, so that's good. Next, we're going to come over here to the card processing, and you'll see there's something kind of strange we're doing here. This, if you have information in these columns, adjusted card processing and adjusted net order amount, that means that you had a return or you refunded somebody their money. So I added this column and I added this column in green because they are a formula. So in this situation, what this means is the original card processing fee you were charged was $1.17. But then you issued a refund, so then Etsy only charged you 87 cents. But what we need is the difference. So basically, they gave us back 30 cents. So that's why over here, initially, our card processing fee was $15.73, but they gave us back 30 cents. This $1.17 is less 30 cents. It was really 87 cents when it's all said and done. So our new order processing amount is $15.43. So real quickly, this is just a formula. It is this number minus this number, and that's our amount. I take that amount down here, and the formula here is this number minus the 30 cents gives me my new value. And this is the number you want to write down. Like I said, I added these columns and did this calculation myself. Also keep in mind this order processing fee is different from the transaction fee, and it's different from the listing fee, and it does not appear in the chart on Etsy. The other number we need, the last one, is the amount of our returns. So once again, this is a calculation that I did. I'm going to go through this. This calculation is a bit more confusing, but I'm going to show you one other place where you can find this number as well. So just hang tight. So this was the new adjusted net order. So I took the original, you can see AA27. So here's AA27. The order net, that's the original order net. This is the new order net. So my formula is original order minus new order gives me this. But you'll remember the 30 cents that we have here? That was part of the refund. That was Etsy refunding part of that. I know. So this formula is then this number plus this number. And then that gives you your refund amount. And I'll show you how you can check that, because I know this is convoluted and goofy. But remember, I'm calculating here our refund was $10. So let's see. We're going to go here. Another CSV file you can run is the Etsy payment sales. I believe it is that one. Etsy payment sales for the month. Download the CSV. Let me make sure I've got the right one. Oh yeah. I'm going to minimize that. I just wanted to make sure I was telling you correctly. Okay, this is that same amount. That's the same report I just ran. And here's our $10 over here, far right column, refunded amount, $10. So I know then that my formula before was correct. So once again, that's Etsy payment sales, and run it for your month. And then you can a little bit more easily pull out that refund amount. Why this column does not appear on the other CSV file, I have no idea. It would make things a lot easier. Okay. So you have now written down all the information you need. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to QuickBooks. And we're going to record a journal entry for the month. The journal entry is for the month of November. So we're going to date it 11/30. Now, this does involve debits and credits. It's accounting. But just follow along and put the numbers that you have collected in the credit or debit column accordingly as I show you as we go along. Okay? The first number we're going to record was our Etsy sales income. The Etsy income amount is always going to go in the credit column. And you'll remember that this came from our Etsy orders CSV, right there. Okay, the next amount we're going to record is our discounts. Discounts as a sub-account of Etsy income. Discounts are always going to be in the debit column. They are kind of a subtraction of our income. Next, we're going to record our shipping income. So Etsy shipping income. This is an income item again, so we're going to record it in the credit column. Now, you'll notice that QuickBooks is trying to fill in this number for us. That's because in accounting, your debits and your credits always have to agree. But we're not ready for them to agree for us, so just type in your own number, move to the next line, and it's going to erase their filled in amount for you. Okay, next we're going to record our sales tax payable. That's an other current liability. And I had said I put 1 there. Now, actually, I don't have sales tax payable, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this, because otherwise my numbers will not work. But if you have sales tax payable, then go ahead and you put that in the credit column right there. The next line is our order processing fee. Oops, that is not what I wanted it to do. Fees and expenses are going to go in the debit column. Once again, this is that number that we jotted down right here. Next, we're going to do our returns. It's having trouble finding it. Let me just do it this way, clicking on the down arrow, scrolling to my income account, Etsy income. Oh, I said refunds instead of returns, so that's why it wasn't finding it. This is also going to be a debit. Remember, that was the $10 refund that we issued. Moving right along, we have our listing fees. And that was $11. We wrote that down from the Etsy payment account homepage for our month. Same with transaction fees. See, QuickBooks is trying to fill in that number for us, but we've got our own ideas about what we want that number to be. So just keep overriding what they're doing. They're still trying to balance for us, which is helpful. We're just not ready for it yet. Then we have advertising, Etsy advertising. That was $8.99. We're going to keep going. Lots of lines here. Then we have our Etsy shipping expense. Shipping fees. Also a debit, $47.99. And so then that's the last of the numbers that we have written down. Let me review what we have so far. We wrote down our Etsy sales income from the CSV file. We wrote down our discounts from the CSV file. And our shipping income from the CSV file, also sales tax payable. Etsy income is always going to be a credit. Etsy shipping income is always going to be a credit. Then your discounts and returns and expenses are always going to be debit. So we've got our discount, our order processing fee from the CSV file, our refund from the CSV file, and then listing, transaction, marketing, and shipping expenses, those were all pulled from our Etsy payment account homepage. So now QuickBooks is going to balance for us, and that's what we want it to do. And all of this money represents what we've sold, less our fees. And so it's the amount that Etsy collected for us. It's our net amount of what they collected for us. So this goes to our Etsy bank. And the Etsy bank is always going to be a debit as well. I guess unless you had a lot of expenses, but I think Etsy would just charge you separately if you had more expenses than sales. I think you would find that as a separate line item, like a charge to your credit card or your bank account. So Etsy bank and QuickBooks is balancing this for us, and that is exactly the number that we want. Our debits equal our credits. And we're going to go ahead and hit save and close. Okay, now we're going to go to banking, And remember, we have Etsy deposits. They're depositing money to us each month, so we need to account for those as well. So this is the bank feed. I just went to banking and the account where Etsy makes the deposit. I guess I'm doing this a little quickly. I assume that you might have seen some of my other videos about walking through QuickBooks Simple Start previously. So we're going to scroll along the amounts received until we get to an Etsy deposit. This is a deposit from our Etsy shop, and the account that we're going to code this to is the Etsy bank. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and click Add. Now this is actually a different Etsy shop, so I'm not going to do that one. But now QuickBooks is memorizing this. This Etsy deposit is going to go to the Etsy bank. And this deposit is going to go to the Etsy bank. And I believe that is all we have for the month of November. I'm checking my notes. And yes, that is correct. Okay, so now to prove what we have done has worked, let's go ahead and do a report. I'm going to run a profit and loss. And I'm going to do it for the month of November. I'm going to hit Run Report. And now you're going to see all of the data that we have entered for the month. You can see our Etsy income, discounts given, shipping income, and refunds. And then in Etsy expenses, you'll see our Etsy advertising, listing, order processing, shipping, and transaction fees. So that is perfect. Let's go back to the report list and run a balance sheet. We're going to set the ending date to November 30th. And really, a balance sheet does not have a beginning date, but we'll satisfy QuickBooks. Run report. And you'll see as at the end of November, our Etsy bank had an amount in it of $26.17. So let's check, is that right? Did we have $26.17 in our account at the end of November, ready for deposit? So we're going to do that. Payment account. Let me find November. See all monthly statements. November. Lo and behold, $26.17. Looks like we did a great job. So this is the procedure that you would follow to record your Etsy transaction information each month. As you can see, this took us very little time. Definitely less than half an hour. I know this video is not half an hour long. And now we have all of our information in QuickBooks Simple Start recorded accurately. Look below in the description for links to other videos or further information. Also subscribe if you feel that this video is helpful to you. One thing I wanted to point out, which will be covered in a different video, this number is not going to equal what we have in QuickBooks as our income. And I will explain why that is in another video. And basically, the reason is because Etsy's weird, and that number, I just think it's crazy, a crazy number. So I'm going to go ahead and show you really quick. So here's kind of our data on our Etsy income. And you can see that we might expect it to be this 261 number is what I would guess that should be. And of course, this does not agree. And I know exactly why, which is why I'm going to show you in another video what is going on. But basically this number is kind of weird. And you'll see that when you watch the other video. Excuse me. But we know that our numbers are accurate and correct because we pulled them directly from the Etsy data, put them in exactly the way Etsy reported them to us. It's just that this is a weird combination of numbers which they do not outline and explain, but I will explain in another video. Okay, that's all for now. Like I said, if you need extra help, take a look at my website. I have an Etsy course on bookkeeping, and go ahead and give me a subscribe if this type of information is helpful to you. Thank you very much.